Milo Lopove.
It means cute thieves. I see these Chinese camps all over the place. Every time that they have these China aid projects, they like to build their own little camps. And the other thing I need to mention is that of all these workers, he did not seem very happy. And this is the big Chinese tunnel. The first one is like, it's like, wow, president, and then Duce. Duce means like fascist. It's an old Italian word for Mussolini. Holy shit, guys. Look at this bridge. But the question is, did Montenegro need it? Why did they need it? Did Montenegro need all of this? Good morning, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're on a wonderful adventure. I really hope it unravels out in a really interesting, fascinating way. This morning we're in the port town of Bar. I was staying at this little hostel. It's called Hostel Hangout over here. It says Hangout on the side. This guy is a Turkish guy. I just opened it a few months ago. But what I love most is waking up to the view of these mountains in the morning. Just, mwah. Mwah. Beautiful. And just like any other hostel, of course it's right next to the train, so the train system is over here. Not like it keeps you up at night, but when you're a traveler, you choose to come to these places because you meet all the people. Some really nice people from Australia, some nice people from Germany, and stuff like this, because you make friends so easily. But I'm just going to take in this site one last time. Oh, that's beautiful. And then I'm going to grab some coffee, and then I'll explain to you what exactly our mission is for today. Alright, let's go. Okay, so like I said, it's an extraordinarily windy day here, but I want to sit down and just explain to you guys what exactly our mission is going to be. So today we're going to go figure out the highway to nowhere. We're going to go figure out where nowhere leads to. So that's why we're starting in the port city of Bar. Bar is on the coast of the Adriatic Sea. It continues basically slicing across the country to the border with Serbia. Now, the reason this project interests me so much, not only just because it's a highway to nowhere, but it also interests me because it's a China aid project, and it's almost like a failed China aid project, which is very rare to see. Over the last few months when I've been traveling a lot, especially in Africa and the Middle East, I see a ton of these China aid projects. So like, for example, in Africa, China aid is actively involved in 53 out of the 54 countries. You know, so it's only like, I think it's Eswatini or Lesotho, one of the small countries down on the bottom that doesn't accept their help. But other than that, China is in every other country building new roads, building new train systems, building new ports, all this kind of stuff. And it always comes with like a hidden cost. And so here, I was so curious to come and see how China is pushing into Eastern Europe as well with their Belt and Road Initiative. What's so curious about these projects is that sometimes they don't always work out as well as they expected, or as well as China would like to say that they worked out. So for example, in okay, so like I saw in Uganda, in the safari lands, like right across from the Serengeti, Uganda has an equally fascinating safari land, and China came in, China aid, and they built a new road to go through the safari lands, and yeah, it seemed great on paper. You know, it'd be better for the tourism, it's safer for the roads, this kind of stuff. So the Serengeti is like dirt roads like this, and it had like that really nice feeling of like very raw, very authentic. You have to go slow and you see more things, the animals are closer. But in Uganda, China did the exact opposite approach, and they built this new road. And yes, it's a very, very nice road, don't get me wrong, but the problem is you don't need a high-speed highway going through the safari lands. And all it did, as I discovered, is that not only did it scare away the animals, but it made people speed because it's a really nice road, and you feel like you should be going that fast. And there's dead animals all over the place, dead monkeys, like animals don't even want to get close to it. And it just almost completely ruined those safari lands. Like it's not the same anymore. And so it's been really curious to me to come here, and now I want to see why they felt the need to help support this highway that goes through Montenegro, and to see if it was actually needed, and to see the shortcomings, the fails of it. Long story short, this highway is multiple billions of dollars. Basically, the long and short reason why Montenegro is building it is that Montenegro does not have a highway system. And so they're one of the only countries in Europe that like does not have a highway system, and they think it's going to be a great ticket to get them into the EU. They're not a member of the European Union right now, and so basically they hatched this plan like 1 year before they gained independence in 2006. So 2005 they started thinking about this, and they ran some studies, and the studies found that yeah, this was not going to be a viable project, and So they actually ran a study in 2005 and 2012 that both said that no, this would not be, you wouldn't have the correct passenger flow. For the highway that they're building right now, actually, for the highway that they were proposing, they needed about 22 to 25,000 vehicles driving on it every day. And right now, the most popular part, just the very most popular part from here to Podgorica, gets only 6,000 people per day. So we're looking at like, it needs to be at least 4 times more for the entire length of the highway to make this make sense. And so all the viability studies were saying, no, this won't make sense. And then the Chinese, through the organization, they paid some economists over at the University of Montenegro to run some more viability studies. And surprisingly, they found that, yeah, it's gonna work out, no problem. A nice little donation, and that covers up everything. Anytime that anybody's been trying to see these viability reports, the reports that say that it's all good, like they refuse to show them. But they do say that, oh, it's good. And you know, maybe there are some good things about, like, maybe road safety will be better. It'll make the trip a little bit faster, but like nobody's driving the road anyway. So it's just been really curious and kind of shady all around. So my goal for today is that we're going to go start down the Porta Bar over there, Bar Luca, and then we're going to basically follow the road up past Podgorica, and we're going to see some of the most impressive parts of this highway. This highway is super impressive because it's got huge parts over canyons, over lakes, over, you know, tunnels going through huge parts of mountains. So it's a really, really impressive engineering feat. But the question is, did Montenegro need it? So let's go check it out. All right, so we've reached the Porta Bar, Bar Luca, and we got some Navy guys over here. Actually, I'm not supposed to film. There's a sign right here that says no cameras, but instead I'm going to show you guys real quick because I think this port is really fascinating. That sailor once he walks past. Over there, see those 2 ships that are stuck over there? That there are 2 guided missile gunboats that used to belong to the Yugoslav Navy that are here decommissioned and they're waiting sail. So they're just stuck over here at the Porta Bar. The Porta Bar is actually kind of interesting because it's the Montenegro is like the first southern Slavic country to have like a proper port, and this port is massive because not only was it supplying Serbia and Yugoslavia for a long time, because this is like Serbia's reach to the coast. This is the way that they used to enter the Adriatic. But this port is absolutely massive. Here are those 2 boats over there, and a cruise ship that's over here. But what's fascinating is that the Germans, they used to control this port during World War II, and then before they left, they pretty much bombed it out. So it was rebuilt, but rebuilt with like massive ability. Like it could take so many ships, but such little uses it. Like I said, this is kind of like the proposed beginning, because then the road then starts from here. All the trade is a great way for China to get involved, and the road then goes this way. It goes this way, and then it cuts through the mountain and goes through Podgorica and then all the way up and everything. Ciao! Very nice people. Good morning. Okay, so what also is kind of interesting is that these ports, China does like to keep the ports. And so in the case that Montenegro won't be able to pay back, and right now they're reaching like 80% of their GDP, like they have so much debt, that if they cannot pay back China for the road that nobody needed anyway. Oh, gosh, it's very windy today. If they cannot pay back China, then China always has it in their thing that they'll take land instead. And so I'm sure that the Porta Bar is probably going to be one of those bargaining chips that might get taken sometime in the future. The other kind of interesting thing is that if there are any claims, any judicial things, China wrote in the contract that it's not going to be settled by EU judges, it's not going to be the International Court, it has to be settled by China. And of course, when China is the one that's going to be making all the decisions, they're judging the matter, you can imagine how things are going to turn out. So, we're going to keep taking the road over, and we're going to actually get on the real highway, we're going to follow it through, and let's go check out the next few parts of the highway to nowhere. Alright, so we've passed the first bridge. Like I said, there was a toll, and the toll is 250 euros. Even if Montenegro put a toll on it and like for the entire thing and charge like actually a big amount of money, they still cannot pay off this entire thing. So and now we come to Lake Shkodër. Shkodër is on the border with Montenegro, and then Albania is on the other side. It's a really massive lake, and the border kind of cuts between. But this lake is only, it's actually very, very shallow. It's only like, the average depth is only 5 meters, so 15 feet or so, 16 feet actually. At the deepest part, I think it's no more than 40 feet or something, so very, very shallow. It's like we call this a karst lake. This is the mountain that we just came through. And what really points out, especially with this stretch of the highway, is it shows all of the engineering marvels of this highway. You know, so we have a part that's going through this huge mountain, and then there's a part that's going to cross over this lake. There's a bridge there, and then as we keep going, there's more bridges and all kinds of really, really fascinating stuff. The question though, was it worth it? It's a beautiful spot though to contemplate the question. Okay, so now we're leaving Podgorica, and as you can see, these signs are starting to show Belgrade 450 kilometers, because now we're going to snake through the mountains, and this is where the really hard part begins, because as you can see, this is where the geography gets really challenging. Extraordinarily windy, but I want to show you guys something real quick. So we just came out of Podgorica. This is the old road. As you can see, not many vehicles on it, very functional. This is the road that China is building. As you can see, these are just some people that are working on it. And there was all kinds of construction and stuff that went into it to build these roads. But the question is, why did they have to do it? This road is perfectly fine. Nobody was using it anyway. You know, basically a lot of Montenegrins say what they really needed was just to repave the roads, and that's pretty much it. But they decided instead that they need to, you know, cut out a huge part of the wall, and then there's all these tunnels and everything up here that, you know, why did they need it? Why did they need it? That's the question. So again, we're back on the side of this bridge. Like I said, this is where they tunneled it out, and this is the big Chinese tunnel. Like I said, no one's even using it. But I want you to notice this graffiti. Some people come and try to cross it out. But this newest, the freshest one. Ue, Presidente Duce! It means, the first one is like wow, President, and then Duce! Wow, I'm gonna get blown away by this wind. Duce means like fascist. It's an old Italian word for Mussolini. Some of this graffiti. Milo Lopove. It means cute thieves. So right here next to the head office of all the Chinese offices and everything, is also kind of interesting. Here is a monument to World War II. You can also tell by the liberation date over here. There's something interesting about the fact that these two are right next to each other. I wonder if we can go inside the Chinese camp. Let's see if we can see if they'll let us in. I have a feeling that they're going to be very mad. Okay, we reached the Chinese camp. Now, again, this is the head office, and behind this is the Morasica Bridge, kind of like the hallmark of this entire project. These huge pillars that cut across this canyon. But what's kind of interesting, and what I need to point out, is that I see these Chinese camps all over the place. Every time that they have these China aid projects, they like to build their own little camps. And the other thing I need to mention is that of all these workers, he did not seem very happy. But the thing I need to mention is that of all of the workers of this project, China penned into the deal that 70% of the workers are Chinese. And so they all live inside this camp. They eat, you know, they cook all their own Chinese food and everything, but they also get all kinds of immunities, which I think is a really questionable part of the project. It's part of the shady underworkings of it. Alright, so we've reached the Morasica Bridge, and holy shit, guys. Look at this bridge. It's amazing. Like I said, this project actually is really impressive for its feats. I mean, like, the Chinese are really great at building this kind of stuff. But the question that keeps coming back was Montenegro. Did Montenegro need all of this? So these huge 5 pillars, they're gonna cut across to just go right across the mountain range. Instead of the road before that it would go snaking down and then it has to snake and everything all the way up the mountain. And so yes, it'll make the journey a lot quicker. It'll make it a lot safer and you know, all kinds of good things. You know, for the longest time there were also reports that China was polluting and that it was a very dirty project, especially coming downstream from the bridge. But as I'm looking around here, it actually seems to be relatively clean now. And I don't know if that's just from time passing or if China took note and actually came down here and cleaned it. But I did see in the past about people, I mean, just like chemical waste just slopped up against these rocks. So it's good that it's not dirty anymore, or at least it doesn't appear to be dirty. Because it's actually a very, very beautiful country. I mean, like I said, bluest water in the world here in Montenegro. And this is just section 1 of the project. Section 1 goes just from Bar up until here about at the bridge. And this is only like 1/3 of the entire project. There's still much more to come after this, and some of it is incomplete. For now, they have most of like the basics, the big stuff. Like this, as you can see, the bridge is for the most part up and everything, but it still needs to be paved on the top. It still needs all this kind of stuff. And so a lot of people say the project is like 85% of the way done, but it's not usable yet. Nobody's using this road. Everyone is still using the old access roads and everything. So it'll be interesting to come back and keep an eye on this in the future to see how the project keeps progressing, if it actually does open, and how Montenegro figures out a way to pay for it. The long-term question is that, yeah, since it's such a huge, hefty price tag, you know, I'll leave it up to you to decide if it was China's fault or Montenegro's fault for China to offer them a loan that they knew they couldn't pay back, or for Montenegro to accept it, knowing that they wouldn't be able to pay it back. So I'll let you decide who's at fault here. But the long-term question of how it's going to get paid for, because it does have to get paid for, otherwise China's going to start coming and they're going to grab the land, or they're going to grab all kinds of other debts. And so a lot of the general consensus is that for Montenegro, the best solution is to wait. The best solution is to wait until they join the EU, which the EU is kind of looking at a basic framework of like 2025 that they're going to start thinking about it. So the question is if they can wait that long. Once they become a member of the EU, then it'll open up more funds that can help pay off this massive monolith of a highway. So until then, I guess the question remains if the bridge to nowhere, the highway to nowhere will ever be completed, and 2, if it ever gets finished because of the cost. Montenegro doesn't have any more money to do it, so it's kind of stalled at this point. Very fascinating, very, very fascinating investigation.